So Jay, when we interviewed Jay, he said something.
You interviewed Jay already too?
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
and Jay? Yo.
Yeah.
You ain't go through Chauncey on that, did you?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you money. You got my number. You know, I'm gonna give you money.
Shout out to Jay.
You call me.
Got you.
Right.
So he said like he felt that he kind of paraphrasing it, but he kind of blamed the culture for the downfall of FUBU because he said like it get to a point where everybody's rooting for you. You reach to a point and then everybody starts to turn their back on you.
Yeah.
And then they start to make jokes about the closing, and now it becomes a punchline, and it's a weird dynamic that happens with brands in our culture where it's like when you reach the top, now you're corny.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Powerful.
that?
We like to rip ourselves. You know, we like to rip. Okay, that's not just the us thing, right? Because I see on Shark Tank now, there's no more. The stories are great to talk about where they can try to dig and get something and they can't because the show is so real. But you know, people like to build you up, rip you down, and then build you back up. But yeah, I mean that's the truth. You know, a lot of cats would be like, "Yo, man, where do I get FUBU, man? Yo, where can I buy it?" The same goddamn place you buy everything else. You looked it up online? No? Then why are you asking me, man? You know, it's just straight up. You know, that is what happened. But they do make, a lot of people have made fun of it. But listen, it just is what it is. I'm lost for words in a sense because I don't think that I don't want to say it in the wrong way, but I do think that we should honor the brands that have come out because you won't hear them laugh about Supreme or Nike or
Ralph
all the
Lauren.
other,
Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, Ralph Lauren. You won't hear them laugh about that stuff.
Or even Nautica. Even when Nautica fell off, it never was corny.
Yeah, it wasn't like, yo.
It wasn't like a lot. People just stopped wearing it.
Yeah, there's systemic things that are way above my pay grade to discuss, to really articulate those things in the right way. But I think sometimes it's I'm no longer there. Yo, I'm better than that. I got to tell you, we never sold FUBU because we never sold it because, and everybody said we did. We never did. We never sold it because so many people said, please don't, right? And we never sold it, but only 10% of people are African Americans who are FUBU. And somebody said, how dare you say that? Well, I know because we're big in Malaysia. How many black people you see running around Malaysia?
Currently big in Malaysia right now.
We're big in Malaysia. We're big in Germany. We're big in, we are big in South Africa. But Korea, Philippines. But I noticed the ones who wear it the most, let's say America, the 10% that wear it the most, it's either music artists, African American, I'm talking about black people, right? Music artists, very wealthy African Americans, and very aware and culturally aware African Americans. And they don't wear it as just FUBU. I think that as you see a lot of the big music artists where they say they're making a statement of, hey, I can wear anything. I'm gonna wear this once in a while too, right? The culturally aware African Americans do the same thing. They go, listen, no matter what, they'll wear dashiki, they'll wear that, they'll wear Louis Vuitton. And then the really wealthy wear it because they go, I can buy anything. And I'm gonna buy Tom Ford today and I'm gonna buy this tomorrow. It's the ones who are aspiring to someplace else who don't often support it as much as, they could. And you know what? Maybe they don't like it. It's fine too. I don't ever want somebody to buy it because they're supposed to buy it. You're not supposed to buy nothing. We're supposed to provide you value. Mm-hmm. So if you don't buy it because you don't like it, I get that too.
What you're speaking of, I hear global expansion, and you kind of went over the roles of having partners, and one guy's fly guy, the other guy's gonna run to the studio. But you take me as a guy who was the business mind. And so as you're seeing money coming in, it's the first time for everybody. Like that's one of the things in our community, we're first time everything, right? So we're first time millionaires. And so what was that like dealing with now that we're partners, but everybody has made money, how we're gonna sustain money? What are we doing with the money? Are we investing it? Are we reinvesting it in the business? And then when we start to see sales decline, now having conversations with saying, all right, we might need to scale back a little bit or we have to change our plan.
Man, That's why this thing's so successful. Oh, you guys are good. Your boy's doing all right. You guys are good questions around here. I ain't never been asked these before. Put me on the spot. All right. Well, money coming in, man. Listen, you don't give a guy like me. I was dead broke, 28 years old. The story goes, oh, I moved turned my mother's house into a factory. Well, let me tell you how that story went. Turning it into a factory. 3 months later, I was 3 months late on the mortgage and almost lost my mother's house. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't because that it wasn't because I bought lavish things, but I was paying for raw goods 90 days ahead of time, paying for a staff, paying for, shipping, and my stores didn't pay me for 90 days. I was being choked by the float. So I had a lack of financial intelligence. So I almost went bankrupt twice before I made money. Now I got 20 million liquid in the bank. Come on, man.
Different feeling.
Don't give me 20 million liquid in the bank.
More bottles.
More bottles.
More houses, more
Satisfied customer every night at the club. And
shout out to the ballerinas.
I can't play commercial. That's the C word.
Uncivilized.
Why would I ever do that?
Uncivilized.
Right? Oh, everybody had a $5,000 problem too. For some reason, after I stopped giving everybody those, I $250 a year average out. Every time whenever I stopped giving those people those $5,000, they were still miraculously alive the next year. Oh, now you got to open up a couple of companies, right? Then you invest in the market high. Planes crash into a building. You pull it out low because you're like, it's never going to come back. And what are you talking about? It comes back in 18 months. Oh, bankers are calling you all the time. Yo, let me help you with your money. And, your ego's in the way. Help me with my money. How much you making a year, homeboy? You making $200,000. I got $20 million. Maybe I should help you with your money, my man. But you don't realize that person went to school for financial intelligence, and that person is working for a JP Morgan Chase and has access to what commodities are moving or bonds and various other things. So almost went bankrupt. And now the business and this is exactly what potentially happens with athletes. There's nothing wrong being an athlete. I mean, it's harder to be an athlete, I think, and make it in, 1,500 professional athletes in the country. Right? I think it's harder to be an athlete than it is to be a millionaire. So I'm going to tell you, these athletes are extremely talented and they're at the top of the game, but they didn't learn financial intelligence just like I didn't. However, they get a bite at the apple at 24. My bite of the apple kept going, right? But when I saw that 20 go, I was like, all right, now there's a problem.
Oh, 20, you just
ran through it.
Gone.
Basically.
Yeah.
Dwindled. When 20 go to 4, it's gone.
That's a fact.
And then I was like, yo.
Emergency alarm.
There's a problem. Who do I need to talk to? I can't talk to these. You know who I need to talk to? Somebody who don't need me. Let me call a bunch of cats who I know, and they're like, yeah, I saw you pulling out that cash every day, huh? I saw you. I didn't want to say nothing. Why did you say nothing? They're not my business, man. You can do whatever you want with your money. But that person's worth $1 billion. Hey, what should I do? So I sat home. I watched Jim Cramer, Mad Money, for 3 years straight. Came on every single day. Came on twice. It still comes on twice a day. And he's just like you. I'm not only here to educate you, but to entertain you. And I started to understand why stocks move and what is capital gains and compounding interest and how to go on margin and what not to do with margin and various other things, right? And how the wealthy stay wealthy and they pay a certain amount of taxes, but there's a lot of incentives to give charitable organizations, and it makes you better, right? Because somebody will sit there and say the rich don't pay taxes. Well, the rich pay taxes, but they pay it accordingly, right? But you would say, well, listen, you got $10 million in the bank, and in your stocks, right? $10 million, you have that invested in your stock. Your stocks go from 10 to 20, right? Well, now the 10 is your hard cash in. That same whatever financial institution will let you go on margin. They will let you pull out 50%, right? The $10 million that is profitable, right? That's called margin. You could take that margin and go buy more Apple and go buy more Tesla and that's the same thing with real estate. When you pull that margin out, you're now paying interest at 6, 7, 8%. You're not paying taxes at 40%. You can do that if you have $1,000 in the bank. You go to $2,000. Now you have $1,000 on margin. However, margin is very dangerous because a lot of people take margin and buy the wrong things with it. Or margin is trading places. Margin call, gentlemen. When that mark goes down, wait a minute, I don't have enough money. What do you want me to do? Your brother's dying. Fuck him. Like that, like margin can be dangerous.
Margin calls are dangerous.
That's called over leveraging, and that's what put us in a really big bind in '08, right? But again, to understand this information, it's right there. When I was growing up, it wasn't there. You had to call a stockbroker. The guy had to, or the girl had to qualify you. You couldn't go on and open a TD Ameritrade account. You couldn't follow 100, Instagrams that are talking about finance and trading and Bitcoin and whatever the case is. You didn't have a Earn Your Leisure where you can hear cats talking about it. I didn't have access to information. Access is the most critical thing you need, right? Mm-hmm. So when I started to have that access to information, I said, wait, let me look at Jim Cramer. Whoa, let me ask these people over here who have money. I started to understand what it really is to have wealth. And when you get in those rooms, when you're in the room with rich people, they talk about how much they spend. You get in the room with wealthy people, they talk about how much they gave away. Totally different game.